Hello everyone, my name is Jeff, and this is the Sarazanmai episode 10 review. With me, as always, are Coby and Torie. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello,
Hi.
I've been here for all the past episodes.
No, you haven't, you liar.
I have been. I was silent in the background because you guys just handled it completely without me.
Yeah, I lost your audio files every single time.
That's what happened.
And
I had stuff to say.
We just kept talking over each other over and over again. I guess the first thing we should say is welcome back, Coby.
Thank you. Happy to be back. Talking about this crazy show, which I didn't have time because I literally just got back and I binge watched the show and I just watched your guys' last review. So I actually didn't know your thoughts for like the previous 2 episodes before that. But from listening to your last week review, I gotta say, you guys are not highlighting how crazy this show is. This show is insane.
I mean, I think we've done a sufficient job already in prior episodes talking about how crazy it is. And so it being crazy is no longer news, Coby.
And to me, the craziness overshadows how confused we are. When we say how confused we are, like, what the fuck? That is basically saying how crazy it is. It's just, so much is going on and so much doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense. Just don't ask me to explain it for reasons.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm curious to know what you actually think about the past few episodes since you've been gone. I think you've been gone for the past 3 or 4 episodes, so do you think the show still stacks up to how we felt about it in the beginning, or have your thoughts about it changed?
Yes, I actually think the show has at least exceeded my expectations in 2 very distinct ways. The first way is that I'm glad we haven't stuck to the same format, because I think in our beginning reviews of this, we were kind of worried about, is it just going to be the same thing every time, with just like an episode with a creature, a monster, and they go and then they reveal a secret and they all learn kind of like a lesson at the end. That started to change, I think, after episode like 5, when they didn't like defeat the monster, the Sache monsters, and that kind of continued on to the next episode. So that was like the hints that something was changing. But now seeing where the show has gone since then, and I'm just really appreciative that it's kind of broken out of a mold and trying to tell a different story. And then I also really appreciate the developments that kind of ended this week's arc with the 2 cops, because I actually really, in the end point of it, I really enjoyed their story. So watching that, I guess, grow over the episodes that I missed has been something that's really enjoyable. Compare that to, add that to all like the dark shit that's been happening, like the crazy stuff, along with all the weird humor. And I think, to me, it's still been a really fun, enjoyable watch.
Okay, I'm curious to know what you think about the sort of resolution with Toi's brother and how that story ended. Did you think that was a satisfying way? And
I think,
go ahead.
I wouldn't say it's a satisfying way, but I would think if that's the only way that story could end. Because I think it leads to a really great moment in this episode, like that ending scene of the current episode that we're talking about. I think is like a really tense scene, because there are 2 sides of people who want separate things, but you can understand why both of them want it. But with Toi and his brother, I mean, I get that let's see if I remember correctly. He was going to go off with him. Gangsters came, and then he was shot.
And Toi's brother basically betrayed Toi. That's the main thing.
Because he was going to shoot him because he was too good for this
And he was leaving
world.
him.
Oh yeah, he was leaving him, and it was okay. I liked it more for, I guess, what it did to Toi, because I guess I like Toi as a character, and I'm excited to see where this death is going to take him going on. I like in shows when they do toxic like brotherhoods, I guess. Like the other one I can think of that I really liked is like Walking Dead with like Merle and Daryl. I like it when the younger brother has this like really dependency on like a bad influence of an older brother, and then he needs to learn to separate from that. So that's why I'm fine with where this story is going, and to see where it goes next.
Coby, do you have a brother?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
Well, there goes your long essay about psychoanalyzing Coby right there.
Yeah, dang it.
All right, so I guess let's just start talking about this episode. I think a lot of stuff kind of gets thrown at us in this episode, but really it's a story about Mabo and Reo, and sort of concluding their story arc, which I think is pretty nice. Maybe not it's kind of a bitter ending, I suppose. But before we get to that, let's start in the beginning. So I guess right off the bat, again, I'm confused. Mabu, actually, which one is it? The Shark Tooth cop.
Rayo Sharktooth.
He basically shows up to where Kazuki and Enta and the prince are, and then he fires off like a trapping device onto the prince, and then they decide to work together or something, or is Rayo kidnapping basically Kazuki and Enta, because they basically it seemed like Kazuki and Enta kind of willingly go with him.
Well, he has a gun to them to the back of their heads.
Yeah, but he could have easily just shot them.
Yeah, why didn't he just take the dish? Because he was there for the dish, and he was there for the prince. He could have shot Kazuki the same way that he shot Enta, and then he just take the dish, and then he would have, brought the prince under his arm because he was already trapped.
How hard it is to carry. Do you want to carry that prince everywhere you go? No, you want somebody else to carry that for you while you have the gun. The toy. I thought Kazuki was carrying him while Rayo had the gun to the back of his head.
No. That's not a sufficient excuse. I feel like for it just seems more efficient to just waste them and then take their dish. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is maybe he doesn't know where the dish is, because Enta does reveal that he was hiding the last dish in his back.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the only thing I can think of as to why he would kidnap him and hold him hostage for so long.
But the other thing is maybe Rayo isn't a bad guy.
Okay.
That he doesn't just go. Why did he shoot Enta last episode again? I forgot.
He did it for the dishes. He shot them for the dishes. So why didn't he do it again this episode?
Because Kappa Prince was there.
It's not very consistent, is all I'm saying.
He doesn't want to hurt the Kappa Prince.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to hurt the Kappa Prince. He didn't. And he could have shot the other two kids and be done with it and taken their dishes.
They just needed to be there in that room, which I guess they could have done. Like maybe if it would have been nice if Rayo took it and then the kids followed him somehow, or if they
So yeah, I mean, it just, I don't know about you guys, but to me, it just felt kind of jarring to me to see Kazuki and Enta just be captured so easily and also be spared so easily, when in just a couple episodes ago, Rayo was willing to basically kill these kids to take their shit. Yeah,
and there's another scene where Rayo had the perfect amount of time and framing to actually shoot Kazuki when they have the final dish after Kazuki. No, when is it? When they get the next dish, he's in perfect view to shoot him, but he doesn't. It's just do it already, Jesus.
And at the end of the episode, and I'll skip to the end now, he is gonna shoot them. But then he just shoots the shit around them,
and
then walks forward some dramatically,
away.
and then forgets why he was shooting them in the first place.
Goodness.
I don't know. Am I the only one that was a little bit turned off by the way this episode started? I just kind of got vibes of prior episodes where I felt like shit was just happening without there being a sufficient amount of explanation.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't really think about it. I mean, I know that shouldn't be my mindset watching it, but it just turned I knew they weren't going to get shot because they're the main characters. They need to be there. They need to be alive. Bad guys just can't show up and just shoot them. They need to monologue.
But they did do that.
They need to drag them around.
They already did that, and then they didn't do that.
Yeah, it was very off-putting for me when they're going down the otter elevator, and then they're just standing there chilling.
Yeah, and the one line that I thought maybe that they started working together was when Kazuki was talking about how he needed the dishes to save Enta's life, and Rayo notices that he's almost about to die, and then Rayo's like, so we both need the dishes for something we desire, and then it just kind of cuts to the next scene. I feel like where they're in the elevator, and I'm like, oh, okay,
it's haha, we both need the dishes.
Yeah, it's it just seems
you're wrong.
Yeah, it just seems like that editing process leads to me thinking, oh, they're allies now. And then I was a little confused, oh, okay, I guess they're working together now, but why? I don't know. That's how I was thinking about the episode as I was watching it. But I guess that's only me.
No, I said I thought the same thing.
Yeah, and Torie, but not Coby.
Not me. I was like, they're fine.
Coby's just easily satisfied. You just
the only time the time in this episode I will say that confused me about why Rayo didn't just shoot them was at the end when he was shooting. When you were right, when he was shooting around the two. I was just it's well, you're shooting around them, just shoot them. He's like, give me the plate. And I was thinking in my mind, I thought at that moment, it's because he was holding the plate. So if like he didn't want to risk, shattering the plate and shooting it. So that's why he needed to hand it over. So in my mind, that's how I justified it. But in that opening scene, I was just like, they just need to all be there.
Well, I guess that makes more sense in the last scene. Yeah, he doesn't want to shoot the plate. Fine. All right, and then in the next scene, we get some revelations about the Kappa Prince. From the Kappa Prince, he says that Reo and Mabu are also Kappas, and that they were his vassals. And then he says that he like split his own Shirokadamai or whatever the butt plug, the butt desire gem. He split his thing in half, and one of them became like an evil spirit that the otter captured. Darkness, and then the other one I guess is still up his butt. Is that the idea? Am I getting that right?
Your guess is as good as mine there. Like I was just like, okay.
Yeah, you see what I mean? It
Sure.
just kind of just throws shit, like things that I feel like should be huge revelatory moments, or at least things that seem significant to the plot, are just kind of, boom, there it is. This is the thing that happened.
It's the setup for, I guess, because what is this, episode 10 out of what, 12 or 13?
11.
Oh, next week's the finale.
Next week is the finale.
Oh, and so it's like setting up the end game, because I guess that's what he mentions in this episode, that he has to recombine with his darkness to do something.
To defeat the otter.
To defeat the otter.
But
the otter has the darkness captured.
Yeah, so do we know what the otter is?
He is the epitome
embodiment of desire or something?
Yeah.
But then
right?
what are Kappas?
Okay, so Coby, what are Kappas?
Kappas are the opposite of that. Their love, their openness, their connection. That's what they are.
Okay, Kappas are not a real thing, but I suspected early on in our reviews that there is some huge Japanese folklore things happening in this show that we are not aware of because we are not from Japan and we don't really know much about the culture. And I didn't even bother to verify that with a Google check or whatever, but Coby, you prompted me because you got a note from your friend who has recently got back from Japan talking about, coincidentally, Kappas and what they are.
Yeah, they said the Kappas are everywhere, and they said they have souls like in their butts, and they love to eat cucumbers, and they're everywhere in Japan.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, this is interesting.
It's basically everything we learned in this show. What a Kappa was or what they do is like is a representation of what Kappas really are in Japanese folklore and mythology. So I'm wondering, the reason I bring that up is because I wonder if the otter is something similar in Japanese mythology. Is the otter like a bad spirit or something? I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google that one as well.
Yeah, or ask your Japanese friend.
Yeah, or I don't know, someone in the comments. And also apparently there's like a spin-off series manga or something that appears on the Twitter page. Someone commented on our last episode saying that there are some spin-off series that kind of explain some things in the show. I'm not sure how much they explain, but one of the things that they explain at least is why Mabu's cooking for Reo is so important. It's because that's how they kind of got together. That's how Reo started falling in love with Mabu, was his cooking essentially. So that's why him making him that dish in the last episode or the episode before that.
It was like his
relationship,
which we learned in this one, it was his way of saying "I love you" without saying "I love you."
Right. Anyway, so you got all that stuff going on.
Okay.
The otter is like, I'm the desire guy, and then he's like, this is how I seduce your Kappas, and he flies up Enta's nose, and he kind of possesses him, and is like, give me the dish, Enta. And Enta's like, no, and he breaks the dish instead.
Dang it, Enta, you idiot.
And then this leads to Mabu sacrificing himself to become a Kappa-zombie so that Reo becomes, he does the whole Kappa song and dance. Yeah. We get to see him in Kappa form, and then he takes the butt juice, the butt plug desire juice from Reo, revealing that Reo was seduced by the otter, and saying that if you reveal your desires to Mabu, then you will die. To Reo.
So
I'm
that's-
mixing these names up, I feel like.
Reo and Mom. So that was like the twist, right? That's the way I understood it. That really was original Mabu, but Reo didn't think it was. He thought it was some robot, but it really was him. He just couldn't say his feelings or act like himself because if he did, he would die. But he forwent his connection with Reo just to be with Reo.
Okay.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, but I want to go back a little bit in their story.
Okay.
They're Kappas, right?
Yeah, apparently.
What are they doing with the otter person?
I think, didn't they explain that in the... It's because they were with the otter person because the otter could save Mabu's life, or at least bring him back once he died. I guess, and wasn't that in that flashback of just like when the Kappa Kingdom fell, they were there, Mabu died, and the otter came and offered like Reo's life, or Mabu's life, if Reo, gave up his connection, his love, I don't know, his something or other.
Didn't he die because of an otter?
Probably. I mean, I thought something fell on him.
I thought something exploded in the building for some reason. They didn't really show exactly what happened. There was just some tense moment.
Yeah,
and
it
boom.
looked like a fight or something, or some sort of war, it looked like.
Yeah, so they were fighting with the otters, I'm sure, but I'm just sure in that moment, Reo was just like, I'll do anything to save Mabu, because all I care about is Mabu. I'll sign with this otter thing.
So he'll just screw away his Kappa prince to go save this zombie version.
Yeah, I guess so.
At that moment, he didn't know it was the zombie version, though. It was just like, you could save Mabu's life.
And also at that moment, too, Reo, Sharktooth Cop, very early on, heard Reo say that he hates Mabu.
Yeah.
So even despite that, he wanted to stick around for his sake. So they were both kind of sticking around for each other, despite thinking that, they don't
The
like
other
each
one
other.
wasn't like it anything anymore. Which is sweet when you think about it.
It's sweet and tragic, and I guess one of the highlights of the show, the fact that, and then I like that ending moment when he's like, his last moment is finally revealing his love for him.
Aw, and then he explodes.
And then he explodes. He explodes from existence. No one knows who he is.
Aw.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I do like the resolution of this story, even though it kind of throws it all into one episode. It's still not really sure what's going on with the otters and the Kappas, but I guess really what really matters is the relationship between these two characters. In the end, and then Toi shoots Mabu.
No, Reo.
Reo, he just shoots anyone. He's trigger happy. He's trigger happy.
He's ready now. He wants those plates to save his brother's life.
Yeah, he didn't even know what the hell was going on. He just came in. Oh, there's a cop. Shoot.
Well, there's a cop, destroying bridges and stuff with the high-powered
I guess
gun.
blowing
that's
up
true.
all that shit and shooting at. He was shooting at, when Toi probably saw that cop shooting at Kazuki and Enta. So it
true.
was just like, yeah, of course I'm
Yeah.
going to shoot this guy.
We don't know how long he was standing there watching.
I just came, 20 minutes ago, I just came from shooting a bunch of gangsters. So it's like, I give no shits anymore.
It's nothing new to him for sure. And then it turns out Toi wants to shoot Kazuki for the dish, except he doesn't do it because after the credits, because that's kind of a cliffhanger. It's like, ooh, is he gonna save him or is he gonna not? But after they let you know what happens right after the credits. Kazuki does end up using the wish to save Enta's life, and Toi doesn't shoot anybody. And then suddenly he gets swallowed by the dark half of the Shirakadanmai of the Kappa Prince, which is like, I guess, the otter's super weapon. But he's gonna release all the despair into the world using this darkness. And
It's like, I wish, I guess I don't know how I would have paced that, because I don't know how you resolve that in the next episode right away, but I think, like, that cliffhanger, I thought was a great cliffhanger, with just, because again, as I mentioned at the beginning, like, Toi, you know exactly what Toi wants, and you can understand why he wants it, is because he wants to save his brother's life. You can understand why Kazuki wants it, because he wants to save Enta's life. So it's a really tense standoff between the two with a literal ticking clock, like, happening, like, right in front of him, and then the episode ends. It's like, oh man, how are they going to get out of this? Like, I have no idea. Like, this is, it made me interested. But then, of course, they resolve it right after the credits, which I thought was a bit of a deflation, because I think that first cliffhanger is better than that second cliffhanger of Toi being sucked in by darkness. But I guess I don't know how I would have framed that otherwise, like, because then that would have had to be resolved in the first 2 minutes of, like, the next episode. And I guess I don't know. Is that, what do you guys
I
think?
think that would have been completely fine.
I
It's
agree.
just like, oh, okay. The next episode starts where we ended off, which is that standoff. He ends up using the wish to save his life, and then he's like, oh, okay, I would have done the same too. And then boom, darkness comes out of nowhere and swallows him up. It's not like, the show has any problem with throwing wacky shit in your face for no reason.
Yeah.
So if that just came out of nowhere, it would have been completely in line with the tone of the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm. And I would have liked the cliffhanger, like you said, much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it ends. So next week is the battle basically for Toi, and like Toi has to. So as I see it, how it's going to resolve is like Toi's going to remember his connection that he made with these two boys, his two best friends now, and that's what's going to bring him out of the darkness because connection is what's important.
And
Right.
I guess that means he has to cut his connection off with his brother.
Yeah.
Because his brother's was not good for him. Even though I thought he was good for him because he took the fall for him, but then the last episode it turns out that he was kind of a scumbag all along. I guess that was my main problem with that relationship, really. But yeah, well, I don't know. I like the episode. What do you guys think? Any complaints?
Just the pacing, but other than that, it was like
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it overall. Like it was fun. It was just a lot of cool stuff. A good penultimate. I guess now that I know that this is the finale, I think it's a good penultimate episode.
I think a lot of it, once again, just trying to make sense out of nonsense. But I'm glad that Ryo and Mabu got their cool love scene together. That was my favorite.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys like, hold up. What am I doing, Coby? I think this is your job now. Would you like to sign us off?
Sure, I'll sign us off. You've been listening to this on Nerd Blaze. Like, comment, subscribe for all that fun stuff. We do episode reviews of a weekly anime. We did some Game of Thrones reviews. We do a sports podcast, anime sports podcast called Anime Ricochet, where two dudes who know nothing about sports talk about sports anime. We do a lot of cool stuff on Nerd Blaze, so come check us out. Like the video, leave a comment, even the nasty ones. Like I don't know if you guys saw last week's comment, but
I didn't
we like
see
all
it.
comments. Oh, it was a guy, he insulted you guys. He kind of said, I think you guys are too stupid to understand the show. And you guys can respond to that how you want. And I responded, so you want to subscribe to us?
My goodness gracious.
Yeah. I mean, you need a very high IQ to understand Sarazanmai, to be fair.
I guess so. Or live in Japan, apparently.
Oh. All right. Well, thanks for signing us off, Coby. We'll see you guys next time.